What up, Far Out fam? Jalan here with Far Out Tiny Homes. Today we are talking tiny home parking in California. We're going to be discussing communities, parcels, and breaking down a couple of the different counties in which tiny homes have been legalized. So let's get into it. Our first stop today is a community called Tiny House Block. It's about an hour outside of San Diego in beautiful Mount Laguna. What is so cool about this neighborhood is as of right now, you can still rent a couple different Airbnbs and go check out the community. So if you're considering maybe moving out there, you can go stay a couple of nights. So what's really cool about Tiny House Block, they have both parking for tiny homes plus tiny homes that you can just rent out. So not only can you go hit them up for a quick stay, get a feel for the neighborhood, but once you fall in love with it, if you do not yet own your own tiny home, you're able to just rent a tiny home already set up on a parcel, get into that lifestyle perhaps while you're designing your own tiny home. This gives folks such an authentic experience, and then when they go to design their own tiny home, it's much easier because you've already been living in a small space. So you should know what you like, what you don't like right off the bat. And then that will help you create your own tiny home layout so your tiny home journey proves to be successful. The rents fluctuate from about $1,000 a month for a tiny home parking spot and then near $1,400 a month if you would like to rent the parcel with a tiny home already on it. Head over to tinyhouseblock.com to see what tiny homes they currently have available because they have a couple. So now we are headed over to Park Delta Bay, which is just south of Sacramento. This is a tiny home community that allows for you to bring your own tiny home with a few conditions onto their site. So one of the conditions is your home must be RVIA certified. And unfortunately, as of right now, they are not accepting NOAA certified tiny homes, which is a big bummer because I know a lot of you are either working with NOAA or you already have a NOAA certified tiny home. We are a NOAA certified builder. So when I was told that, I was kind of bummed out. However, for those of you with that RVI certification or working with a builder who has the RVI certification, this could be a good place for you. Their sites start at about $800 a month plus electric. So the $800 a month would include water, sewer, and garbage. For each spot, there is an $800 deposit and a $40 background check. So after I did a little bit of research, it looks like Sacramento County, they are strictly working with RVIA tiny homes. So unfortunately, the county has not yet caught up with the NOAA certification. I'm hopeful that they will, but sometimes all it takes is just a little bit of time. Okay, now we're headed just outside of Fresno to a little spot called Lemon Cove Village, which is actually near the Sequoia National Park. Okay, so if you are traveling with your tiny home, this is a great opportunity for you, or if you're looking for long-term stays as well. So they offer both. The 50 amp RV site starts at about $50 a day. However, they do have monthly rates, but you need to call in to check their availability and to get a price quote. What's cool about Lemon Cove is that they offer monthly spaces for tiny homes. So you don't have to be concerned about the, per day fee or only being able to stay there for 30 days. They have more of a long-term parking setup and it's nestled in such a beautiful area. I would definitely go and check this out. All right, now we are headed over to San Fernando in the Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park community. What's different about this site is this is more of a manufactured home community with less transient behavior than the other previous communities mentioned, because this isn't like an RV park resort. This is a manufactured home community that does allow tiny homes. And when I looked into the Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park, I was just told to have people reach out for rates. So it will more than likely include your water, sewer, garbage, and then you just pay for your electrical. So check them out. Now we have reached one of my favorite spots and I can't wait to actually go check this place out. This is called the Van Life Campground. And while their specialty is really offering camping to schoolies and vans, obviously, also have a place in their heart for tiny homes. I was able to speak to Aiden, who is the on-site manager of Van Life Campground. Super open-minded guy. I would definitely suggest if you want to go check out Joshua Tree to head that way and see what they have to offer. You would have access to clean bathrooms, to hot showers, to community access areas, and kind of everything in between. They also offer folks the means to have a mailing address, which I thought this was super cool. So whether you're just passing by or you're considering a longer stay, I would definitely check out Van Life Campground. And I'll link it below just to make sure that you guys can find the right website. Now we're heading south of Riverside to Lake Matthews, California. Pepperwoods Ranch is an organic farm. The 2 spots available for rent are $850 a month to $1,035 a month. I actually found Pepperwoods Ranch on a little interactive map called the Tiny House Map. Now, while a lot of these links are outdated, you have to really pick through them, their information still seems to be active. So I'm not sure if maybe they have spaces available or if that's just something that they offer, and then once a renter moves out, they offer it to somebody else. After you check out the video, in the description, there will be a URL that will link you to my map page. And basically this map page is everything that's been updated for tiny home parking. It's super easy to navigate and it will give you all the information you need for tiny home parking broken down by state. Okay, now we're headed out to Lodi, California. I was able to connect with Bridgehead Mobile Home Park, and they do accept tiny homes. This again is more of like that long-term flavor. So if you're looking for parking for more than 30 days, this would be a great opportunity for you. The rent is super inexpensive at $500 plus electric, and then of course that includes your water, sewer, and your garbage. As of right now, no certifications are necessary in order to park your home in this community. But as with every other community, things change really quick. So before you pack up all your stuff and head out to Lodi, give Bridget a call just to make sure that you have all the updated information. Okay, we are headed over to Santa Ana within the Sutliff Trailer Park. So I did speak to the community manager, and your home does need to be NOAA certified. And you also have to have your home registered with the DMV. Just so you guys all know, NOAA certification and a full working bathroom will be necessary. The rent is a little higher price at $1,200 a month plus electric, but that does include your water, sewer, and your garbage. We have kind of done a peppering of California tiny home communities where you can park. So hopefully you have found this information helpful to you in finding your forever home with your tiny home. But let's get into some of the counties that are more progressive in terms of tiny home living. Our first stop is San Jose. What a cool place. They have legalized backyard tiny homes. There is an entire permitting process. So I'm just going to read to you what I got off of their application on their website. And I will also include all of these links on the Park It map that I will link in the description. A tiny home on wheels may be installed on a property with a single family home, subject to comply with zoning code standards and obtaining a building permit. So it's a bit of, there are a bit of hoops that you have to jump through here in order to make this a reality for you. But if you know somebody who has space in their backyard, enough space to house a tiny home, this could be a relatively inexpensive option versus trying to go to an established tiny home community. So keep that in mind. Next, we're headed over to San Luis Obispo. So they also have an application process to accept tiny homes in backyards. It has to be built to ANSI certification, so American National Standards Institute 119.5, and must be registered with the DMV. That's gonna be your starting point. I will link the city website so you guys have full access. You can go and check out price points, city ordinances, and what you're gonna need your builder to do in order to get an approved application. Okay, now we're headed south to San Diego. San Diego is another one of those communities allowing backyard tiny homes. So they do have some city ordinances set into place. One that I came across that was very different from other locations was if the main house has an indoor sprinkler system, the tiny house will also have to mimic that. If you're considering putting a tiny home in a backyard, go ahead and check out the city's website to get all the updated information and the city ordinances. So now we're headed over to Sacramento. Sacramento does accept tiny homes. However, they do not accept tiny homes on wheels. but that does mean a backyard tiny home potentially, just built on a permanent foundation. I know that this ups the cost and the time frame exponentially, but at least there's something written into code that when you're ready to go tiny, this is an option. So it's not a bad thing that they won't allow the tiny homes on wheels. You just have to approach your project a little different. Now we're gonna pop over to Los Angeles. They kind of mimic San Diego in the sense where they have established their own city ordinances. So again, the same thing. I'm gonna be linking these all below so you guys can go and check out all the specific ordinances instead of sitting here and reading them and listing them all off. And last but not least, I have to mention Fresno. Fresno is about the same as San Diego and Los Angeles, as they have their own set of city ordinances. Plus they have a few different conditions that tiny homes will have to meet in order to get that approval. But all in all, I would say that California is extremely tiny home friendly. With the current housing crisis, it's so important to use our existing housing fabric in order to create more homes. Densification can help us lower the cost of homes over the long term. It's gonna be a couple thousand in application fees, and you're probably looking at a couple thousand more just in infrastructure needs to get your tiny home set up. But in the long run, this is a really great thing, because if you're able to have a successful tiny home journey and you're cohabitating in somebody's backyard that wasn't being used, what a great opportunity. So I'm super excited to report that California is so tiny home friendly. If you have a state that you would like me to cover, or perhaps you know of some more tiny home communities or parcels to park your tiny home, leave it in the comments below. We have a really great community here going with our Far Out fam, and we like to share information and help each other out. So if you have additional info, just leave it in the comments. That's all that I have for you today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope you keep it groovy.